I think so. Well, this is a very special live show of TFL Studios because we are talking about a project that's near and dear to our hearts, right? And it's, of course, our Baby Yoda project that's on TFLbids.com. But we also wanted to give you kind of an update of what's going on. So you can ask us questions, right? And anything like that.
So we are relaunching our auction site called TFLbids.com. We tried it once. We've learned a lot from that experience, and now we are giving it another go with a new look at how we run it. So we've got two auctions ending today. We've got a 2005 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited and the Ford F-150 Raptor, but an early one with the 5.4. Those are going to be ending today on this show. And currently live is Project Baby Yoda, as you mentioned, which is our 2002 Toyota Tacoma project truck with all proceeds going to charity. So if you're interested in auctioning off your cool truck or SUV only,
Yes.
check out TFLbids.com. And if you're interested in buying a Raptor or an LJ, you've got like 29 more minutes.
Absolutely. And like you said, it's focused really on trucks and off-road SUVs. So we're not talking about like CRVs or RAV4s here, but it's really kind of a community from TFL Truck and TFL Off-Road, like-minded people like you and I, and just trying to, sell and buy cool trucks and SUVs. So that's what TFL Bids is about. But dude, I wanted to kind of go over the project, the Baby Yoda project, because it's been a long road, kind of. What is it, 6 months, maybe more?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a 2002 Toyota Tacoma single cab that we bought. And we tried this on TFL Classics with an F350, a late 80s model. Our friend up in Fort Collins actually gave us his truck to build up for charity.
Yeah, David Morrow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we did it, and we sold it, and it went for a ton of money, and all the proceeds went to Mountain States Children's Home. So we decided, let's try another go at this, but let's do it with something a little bit different. So we started with a single cab Tacoma with an automatic and a four-cylinder, and we were just planning on doing, the basics like tires on it. And then we had some partners actually come forward and say, look, we're here doing it for charity. Let's do a bumper and a wrap and suspension and tires and a winch. And now it's this really cool truck that's all going to a great cause.
Yeah, and we actually used it off-road. But before we move on, John Adams just donated $5 to our live show. So John, thank you very much. John says he is from Maryland. John, thank you for watching and also donating money.
I noticed we're a little bit laggy on our live stream. Not really sure why it looks like we're in the 1990s, but we haven't done a live stream in a while, so I do apologize if it's a little funky.
Well, we're filming with a potato, so it's okay.
So Z71 Grizzly Garage also donated $4.99. Big thank you to you. He asked, what does the Yota sit at right now? So if you go over to TFL Bids, you can see it's already up to $15,000 in the first day, which is insane.
I thought you meant how high off the ground does it sit?
Oh, 3 inches. Well, 3 inches extra than it was. Yeah.
Okay.
And Zach, that's ending next Monday, right? So
yeah,
we'll
so
do
about 10 days from now.
Yeah, we'll do a live stream when that ends.
Yes.
But the cool thing is, so the two vehicles that are ending in the next 27 minutes or so, the LJ Wrangler and the 2010 Raptor, Nathan and Case actually got to see those vehicles in person.
Yes.
So they were able to do a video walk around, talk about why they're cool, and those are all linked in the actual post. So if you kind of want a better feeling of what these vehicles look like, other than just the typical pictures and description, Nathan and Case saw them in person and was able to produce these videos, so you get a sense of what they're like.
Yeah, and the vehicle, of course, you're mentioning the 2010 Ford F-150 Raptor, the SVT Raptor, the original one with a V8. It's a shorter cab, and the LJ is basically kind of unlimited, longer wheelbase, right? Jeep from 2005, and both of them are in really good condition. And Nathan, like you said, actually showed us the condition. That's how I know, right? It's because Nathan walked us around and showed us inside and outside with Case and showed us these Jeeps and Fords.
Absolutely. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. It can be about anything. John says, Tommy was my inspiration to get a Bernese Mountain Dog. Congratulations.
Wow.
That's very exciting. Question for Andre, any more news on the Tundra?
Oh, on the new Tundra? So no, but we had a talk show recently on TFL Talk channel and also TFL Talk podcast, where I talked with industry expert David Chow. You may have seen it already. Since then, we don't have an update, but basically the update is that the Tundra, the next generation Tundra, is coming this year, It might be unveiled, this is unofficially once again, in June, potentially of this year, and go on sale maybe November or December. We do know from a lot of your messages also that many Toyota dealers are already kind of teasing it a little bit and saying it's coming,
Yeah.
right? Talking about the potential hybrid that's going to be available in the next Tundra. But Toyota officially has zilch, nada,
Yeah, they're keeping it under wraps.
zero. So we don't know officially yet.
Oh, do you think it's going to be a 2022 or is it going to be a 2023?
I think it's a two. It's going to be a two. I'm hopeful.
Because
right?
the current Tundra is a 21, right?
Right. So the 21, we actually have done a couple of videos with the 2021 Tundra, the current generation. We have another video launching this weekend where I compare the Tundra to the F-150, kind of two trucks, that are competing almost at the same price, right?
Right.
So that's coming up, but I'm hoping it's going to be a 2022.
So JT asks, what do you guys know about the limited slip in the Gladiator Willys? Is it mechanical? So yeah, so Jeep has a couple of different options. The base model Wranglers and Gladiators come with something called BLD or brake lock differential. And what that does is it squeezes the disc brakes to send power to the wheels that are in the air or slipping. But then there's also an option called the anti-spin differential, which is a mechanical limited slip. I had it in my JK and it works great. It's really, really good. And it's obviously not quite as effective as like a proper locker, but it will give you 99.9% of places you need to go. Greg from North Carolina asks you, Andre,
Yes.
Have you done any upgrades to the F-150?
One, and it's not really an upgrade. I put a underseat storage cargo box. So the seat folds up, right? And I got an aftermarket one, not a Ford branded one, but it's working really well. It just kind of completely closes off that space underneath the rear seat. I haven't done any other mounts. I want to keep the truck mechanically and probably chassis stock.
Okay.
For the next, I would say, 10 months or a year, because I want to give you guys, everybody, kind of an update on what it's like to actually have a stock truck, the new hybrid, for that period of time. I don't want to start modifying it and then not knowing what happened.
Interesting. So
Yes.
you're gonna keep it stock, huh?
Yes, for at least for a while. But I do want to do a leveling kit, maybe eventually, to raise it up and put some tires on it and make it a little bit more off-road worthy, because the current tires are like little, I don't know, coasters.
Yeah, they are very small. So Andre has a base F-150 with the steel wheels, and it is it's an interesting look. I think you should paint the steel wheels black because they're currently silver,
Yes.
and they look a little bit transit van-y. I mean, I think they'd look really cool if they were black.
My friend Destin calls it the police truck. That's kind of like that look, maybe of a police truck.
Yeah,
So
well, that's true.
I'm going to go with that.
It's bright blue though. It's, so we Chase is in the stream. Hi Chase, how you doing? More questions, thoughts on the RAV4 Tier D off-road. So if you want to know our detailed thoughts, check out our podcast. So we've started a podcast pretty recently. It's on Spotify and Apple. And my dad Roman and I went through a full in-depth discussion about the RAV4 Tier D off-road, the Bronco Sport, Badlands, and First Edition, and we talk about the differences between them. And it's definitely kind of worth a listen to, I think, because we finally got the Bronco Sport out into the dirt, and it was really interesting how it performed. It was really surprisingly good, and I think far better than like the RAV4 Adventure. So it's worth a listen to. Why do you not like the diesel ZR2 over the Gladiator?
Yeah, Tommy.
I have no issues, honestly. GM hasn't provided us a ZR2 in so long. I forgot what it's like. It's just like, woo, out my brain. It's been years, I think, since we've had a ZR2, and we ask for it, but it's like...
Well, the 2021 has a refresh, right? They have a new grille, a couple new items on the 21 ZR2s. I saw it when I went to the dealer and did a video, ZR2 versus, I believe, a Tacoma Tier D Pro. That was, several months ago. But you're right, we haven't properly tested one.
In a long time,
there's nothing wrong with that ZR2. The ZR2 is still a really great truck.
It's got the... I like the 2.8 in the ZR2. It's a very fuel efficient engine. But it's very different than the 3-liter in the Gladiator.
It's less powerful.
It is, yeah, and you definitely feel it when you're trying to get wheel speed up off road.
Right.
But I don't know if I'd get the diesel in the Jeep either. So, okay, next question, Andre, go for it.
So John Adams also asks, in the market for a full-size SUV, it's between the 21 Armada and the 21 Sequoia. What are your thoughts? Well, the Armada has just been kind of refreshed and redesigned with a new face, a few items on the inside. And the Sequoia has not been refreshed since the Tundra was refreshed. So it's been several years. So I would say, hmm, well, it kind of depends. They tow about the same, but the comfort level and I think the overall features I like on the Armada, especially since it's brand new or been recently updated. So I
Yeah.
would go Armada.
Yeah, for sure. So I just checking back at the auction, seeing what they're doing.
Yes.
So the '05 Gladiator, no, '05 Gladiator, the '05 Wrangler Unlimited is up to 17,500. I think it's got like 90,000 miles on it. It's white. So the Wrangler Unlimited of the TJ era was super interesting. Basically, Jeep wanted to make a more practical version of the Wrangler, and they just stretched the wheelbase, stretched the rear end of it, and they're highly, highly sought after. So people love the unlimited. They're called LJs unofficially.
Yes, yeah.
And they go for pretty big money. I mean, this one's up to 17.5, but people really really like these Jeeps. And it's also worth noting that the Raptor that's also going to be selling here in the next 19 minutes. The 5.4 is an interesting truck. 2010, is that the first year?
Yeah, it's basically, they came out in 2009, I'm sorry. And 2010 was the first model year, really. And the 5.4 was the original engine. Then they also went to the 6.2 V8. This truck has about, if I remember right, just over 60,000 miles.
59,000.
Yeah, but in the video, Nathan shows actually a few more miles.
Okay, so it's like 60K.
So it's about 60. So yeah, so it's a really good condition truck. We also have to mention what's happening, this week also with the Tacoma, right? We also have a 1978 Toyota Land Cruiser FJ40.
Yep.
It's red with a white top, which looks really awesome.
Really cool.
And also a late model 2019 F-150 Raptor, basically almost a brand new truck, except it does have, I believe, around 30,000 miles on it. Let me check.
It's awesome. Yeah, so if you're interested, and we're trying to kind of build a community around it, so we'd love to get your comments on these vehicles that are up for auction, and if you want to participate, we'd love to see what you guys think of them.
Yeah.
And it's just a fun thing to do if you're looking at selling a vehicle too. Give it a consideration. So let's keep going with some of the questions here, Andre.
Yeah, what about the 65 F100, Tommy?
Yeah, well,
Ron asks.
it's right outside. I just did a video with Kent on it yesterday.
MrTruck.com?
Yes, and I flat out asked him, what does he prefer, the old trucks that he grew up with, like the 60s and 70s stuff, or the new trucks? And I swear, because he's like an old school guy, he would have said the old ones. But he loves the new ones. I mean, he really enjoys the new stuff far more. He says they're better. He thinks they're better made.
Quieter,
more fuel efficient. He even thinks that they might last just as long, if not longer. So that video will be coming up Sunday on TFL Classics if you want to hear his full kind of impression of it.
He got to drive it too, right?
Yeah, he drove it around. Yeah. He didn't really fit. So the steering wheel is about the size of like
a bus.
A bus, yes, and the seat only goes back so far, and he said it was like sawing him in the stomach. So it was pretty entertaining to watch.
Well, if you want some entertainment, please join us this weekend.
Yes. Chase says, need to make my way over and see the new shop and do a doodle. Am I right? Absolutely, buddy. Would love to see that Sequoia. Chase has a really cool built-out Sequoia, if you're wondering. Will there be a video on Baby Yoda and the Pathfinder? Probably not a comparison because Baby Yoda is going up for the charity auction right now. But we just did a Pathfinder video with our 95 first-gen Pathfinder.
Right, and we recently just purchased it, like a week ago almost, and we took it off-road against the Touareg, and I've fallen in love with the 95 Pathfinder. It's a XE V6, so it's got a 3-liter, and also we're getting a lot of love from the people with those, first-generation W9 21 Pathfinders. A lot of you guys are excited about it, so we'll be doing a lot more videos with the Pathfinder, and stay tuned.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's pretty cool to see. I mean, it's a much smaller community than the Toyota world, but it is pretty active actually. Yeah, it's very cool to see. So let's keep going here. Dan has some aluminum wheels if you want them for your F-150. That's pretty cool.
Thank you, Dan.
So this is an interesting question. Austin asks, any news on the new Grand Cherokee Trailhawk? Love my 2018. Currently, there's just the Grand Cherokee L, which was announced, which is the 3-row.
Yeah.
And then the Wagoneer and the Grand Wagoneer. I think it's very confusing. I think that folks are going to have a really hard time understanding why there are 3 different 3-row Jeep SUVs.
But here's Tommy. So on the Grand Wagoneer, there is no Jeep sign almost at all. And if you go to their website, it's the Grand Wagoneer. It's a totally different site, so it's okay.
I just
No,
don't know.
I'm kidding.
I think people are going to be baffled. I mean, it's first of all, I don't think there's enough differentiation between the Wagoneer and the Grand Wagoneer. Like just reading from some of the comments, I mean, like the hardcore car and truck people that are probably watching this, like, oh, I know the difference. But I think for the average Joe, they don't get that they're 2 separate models because they look the same pretty much.
Yeah, and they're almost the same size, but the Grand Wagoneer is based on a truck chassis, right? It's related to the Ram 1500, and it will tow more, about 10,000 pounds, right? It has a selection of V8 engines,
Well,
including the big Hemi.
yeah, so the Wagoneer's got the 5.7, and then the Grand Wagoneer is a 6.4.
Yes.
And now you've got the Grand Cherokee, which is not related at all.
No.
The L, which is a 3-row.
Yes.
And then I think later, hopefully this
A
year,
short Grand Cherokee.
we're going to see a stubby one. And
Yeah.
then that's going to be the one I think where we see the Trailhawks and the stuff
And
like
other
that.
models too, right?
Yes, for sure. All right, let's keep going, Andre. Let's
So-
ask you another one.
Eric Kissel says, when are you selling the 2020 Raptor? Well, it'll probably be this year for sure, maybe within a few months. We don't have a plan to sell it at the moment, but if we do, and when we do, I'm pretty sure it will be going up at TFLbids.com, potentially.
That's potentially what will happen.
Because I'm not Roman, so I'm not the CEO. So the CEO is not here, but potentially it might go up there.
Yes, we're also maybe looking at trading it for another off-roader, also made by the Ford Motor Company.
Well, I don't know if we're supposed to talk about that.
I don't know what the deal is if
Okay.
but that's a potential too. Where do you get the couches? I think IKEA? I don't know
Yes.
actually. They just showed up one day.
So obviously this is kind of a show we haven't done in a while, the live show. We usually do our studio shows for our news,
Yep.
but because of different logistics, we're here on the couches.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, Chase says, I'm really thinking about a long travel kit would be cool for Andre's truck. You can easily do the rear suspension on a budget and get a trick travel front end with all that power it would rip.
Absolutely. So you've seen it. We drag raced my truck, my hybrid against the Raptor. My truck won. It's really powerful, really cool. I'm really enjoying it. I cannot believe when Case and Tommy took it for a drive on video, they called it boring and mundane and
It's-
absolutely, I don't know what other adjectives you guys used, but it's cool.
Driving the 65 is like strapping dynamite to a shopping cart and pushing it down a cliff. Like it's very thrilling. Compared to that, your truck is quite pedestrian, but it's a nice truck. It's a very nice truck.
Yes.
Can you do a podcast on the best overall midsize SUVs or focus on the used ones? Yeah, we can probably do that. We can look into that. That's a good
Well,
idea.
you recently did kind of the soft to mid rotors, right? A compact SUV show.
Yes,
It hasn't been published quite yet.
I think it's on the podcast side of it, isn't it?
Audio side?
Yeah, I think it's on like iTunes and if you want to listen to it.
Yeah, but we will do more, obviously.
Yeah, you can also check out the TFL Talk podcast site if you want to see me blab for an hour, which nobody does, with my dad. But anyways, let's keep going. What do you think of the Cybertruck? Will it be a sales success?
Ooh, wow.
Yes, I think they're going to sell like crazy for the first 6 months, but I think they're going to be bought by folks who live in cities because that's who buy the majority of EVs. And then they're going to find it won't fit into the garage or at the Whole Foods parking lot, and I think that's really going to hurt them.
So I would agree. So first of all, we have a lot of questions. Will you tow with the new Cybertruck? We recently had like the camper that just came out. Some company said, we have a camper for the Cybertruck. Well, the Cybertruck is not around yet. It's not even officially announced in the production form. So we don't know what's coming, but Elon Musk, I was reading his Twitter account recently, unfortunately. No, I'm just kidding. And he's saying they're hiring a lot of people in Texas. It has to do with also the Cybertruck production. So it's coming, they're actually working on it. They're promising the first model to probably roll off this year. But we don't know even if they'll let us test one, right?
Yeah.
I think I agree with you, Tommy. I think it'll be successful for the first period, and then depending on how expensive it is and how useful it is, it may change.
So a two-man asked, why are soft toppers so expensive? Well, I think it's relative because compared to like a brand new hard topper, they're
which could be several $1,000s.
super affordable. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like in the $1,000 range, even less sometimes. So it's all relative, but compared to a used hard top, yeah, I mean, it depends. But then you have to
So-
get the paint matched, like a used one, you got to get the paint matched. So
Exactly. So it's all relative, and a lot of things are getting more expensive, as we all know and see. For example, we recently had 2 tonneau covers on different trucks that we haven't really shown you. Those are our used truck project, $5,000 rigs. One was about, I think, $300. The other one was about $700. So about $700 to $900 for a soft topper is within that tonneau cover price range, right?
yeah, for sure.
And of course, if you want something more, like a hard topper, like you said, it could be 1 or 2 or even 3 or $4,000.
Yep. We got a viewer from Norway.
Oh, hello.
That's
Thank
pretty
you.
cool. Isn't that
What
cool?
time is it in Norway?
It's got to be either
It's
very
probably
late or
midnight.
very early.
There's also a question about our trail bus. Eric says, do you miss the trail bus truck that we had? Yes, I do miss it. It was also sold. No, we did sell it, but it wasn't on TFLbids.
Yes, that's
Yes.
right.
And yeah, I do miss it. It was a solid truck that we did a lot of stuff in. But now we have used trucks, so I'm driving some used trucks right now and enjoying it.
So here's a little behind the scenes.
Yes,
So Andre, so we've got this 1998 Chevy K1500.
yes.
And I loved it. It was like my favorite truck in the world, and I loved it.
Oh,
But then we had to lift it because we're going to put bigger tires on it.
right, for off-roading.
But it has a torsion bar front suspension.
Exactly.
And in order to lift it with torsion bars, you get these little lift keys. But we lifted it too high. And can you explain what the ride was like with the lift too high?
So we're working with realtruck.com on all these accessories for our used trucks. It's really cool. So these keys were very affordable. So I said, yes, let's get them, right? So they were like $79. And we put it on with Toby at Germanato, right, who is our big mechanic.
Yep.
And literally, when I went to get the truck, this is the K1500, he said, it's riding bad. And I'm like, well, how bad can it be? He said, well, it's very bad. So I came up to the truck and I pushed down on it, on the bumper in the front, and there was no give. Literally, almost no give in the suspension. So I drove it to the office. It was like driving, it was worse than a 1-ton truck empty. It was like driving a cabbage cart.
But then, so that was like full 2 inches.
No, that was, yeah, that was about 2.
But then
with
you
the
brought
different
it down.
keys.
Yeah, but then you brought it down to like what, an inch?
Yeah, so then we went back to the old keys, tried it again, raised it about 1 to 1.5 inch, and it's working great.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's great news. So we got another question here. The dude I love my ride on the Xterra was pretty cool. That was all you.
Oh, yes. So that's Angel, our buddy Angel, who's we've kind of I've met him actually several times because his dad also and him own a different Ford truck that we wanted to buy potentially, a used F-150, and he found this gem. This was a 2007 Xterra, and I think he bought it for like under $4,000, just under. And it was in great condition. One owner, he picked it up here in Colorado, or I think it came from Wyoming or something. And then he gave it a small lift, bigger tires, did most of the work himself. Dude, that was a cool project rig.
Yeah,
Really cool.
It was cool.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking over at our at the auctions here. So the Raptor and the LJ are both selling at no reserve. The Raptor's up to $28,000, and that is pretty in par with what these first Raptors sell for.
Yeah, it is. So I was just doing research because we also did the buyer's guide on the Raptor and tracked the whole history of the Raptor from the first generation to the second and to the third that's coming. Between 26 and 29,000, that's where they go.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Yeah. So potentially a deal to be had there. Be sure to check it out if you want a really bright orange Raptor. That's the color to get, by the way. You have to get the orange. That's the rule.
Well, that was the original color that they used in their original advertising. It was called Molten Orange, I believe.
Yes.
So that was really cool.
Super rad. All right, let's keep going, Andre. How do I bid on a truck? You can check it out at TFLbids. You basically register. Zach has a question.
No, I have more of a statement. There's 5 minutes left on the Raptor and the LJ.
5 minutes left, guys.
Sweet.
So
No reserve. This is pretty cool.
yeah, dude,
Yeah.
that's just a testament that you can get a good deal.
Where is Roman? He is out south doing a project. It's a long story.
He's doing a Tesla thing, actually.
Did you answer the one about the trail boss? You missed the trail boss?
I do miss a trail boss. We just talked about it. Happy Yak Ranch.
Okay, next question here. Best anti-sway system for my F-150. We've done a little bit with the anti-sway systems, like weight distribution bars.
Mhm.
But I think most new trucks now come equipped with like a built-in anti-sway system, don't they? Like a sway control.
It's a computerized system with traction control,
Yeah.
basically. So for trailer sway, the truck detects there's a kind of a yaw sensor, and if it detects that the truck is swaying, it will try to apply the brakes side to side and try to help you. William Bash says he sent us a Happy Yak package. I don't remember receiving a Happy Yak package. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
it just came in.
What?
Mhm.
Where?
Yes, it's for David. I'll give it to David. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna see him next week.
So we did.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just came in. Absolutely. Yeah. So let's keep going. Do you wish these new 2021 Hummers came with an optional diesel engine? That's an interesting question.
Yes and no. I wish there were options, but right now they're all electric, right?
Right.
And the first one is actually 2022. That's coming out at the very end of this year, and then the SUV is a couple years away
Cool.
still. I don't know how I feel about it. I haven't driven them, so if they're really powerful like they promise, maybe it's okay. But yeah, maybe a gas engine might be cool.
20,100 on the Raptor, Andre. It's heating up in the last few minutes.
Wow.
Yep,
Okay.
for sure. Dan asks, do you think cars will get super soft suspension? Again, I miss personal luxury car suspension. I wish they would, but I don't think they do. We have got this Bronco Sports at the office, and it's a great vehicle, but the ride is really firm. I mean, it's a super firm ride, and I wish that it would be nice and squishy, but...
I actually like it. I don't mind it.
What?
It's called Bronco Sport.
You sit on the bunion? Like, how do you drive that comfortably?
It's called a sport. That means it needs to be a little bit more sporty. Okay?
Interesting. I don't know if I agree with you, but we'll discuss that in another video. So just 3 minutes left on this 2010 Ford F-150 Raptor. The 5.4 was a pretty short-lived engine, wasn't it?
In the Raptor.
Yeah, that was
Yes.
a pretty
And
short-lived
I
engine.
think because, this Ford discovered this formula, right? The Raptor was wide body suspension for travel, wide body, look, which was cool.
Yeah.
And also extra power. But originally that 310 horsepower V8, didn't blow people away. Okay, so in the Raptor it was short-lived.
You know what I like about these early Raptors?
Yes.
I like that you could get them very simple. So like you didn't have to get the infotainment screen, but you still got like the bright white gauges and the little stripe on the steering wheel.
Yes.
I mean, I still think that this is the best riding truck I've ever experienced. The first generation Raptor
Yeah.
was like a cloud. It was so much better than the current one.
It is softer than a Bronco Sport, I'll give you that.
It's softer than a Tempur-Pedic mattress. Really, really great.
Eric is saying, the Rivian R1T is coming. It will be released. Do you think it'll be a hit? I think the Rivian, well, it first came out, 2.5 years ago, maybe something like that. And we've been waiting for it. And it's almost like, at least, what I'm seeing is the interest is a little bit coming down, maybe.
Okay.
But we'll see. A lot of people pulled down their money, $1,000 deposits.
They were just 1,000? I thought there was more than 1,000 on a Rivian.
Or maybe a little bit more, between 1,000 and 1,500.
I thought it was like...
I remember Alex Dykes
Yeah.
put something, money, it's kind of like that.
It's taking too long. They need
You know
to...
what else is taking too long? The 2022 Hyundai Santa Cruz.
That's going to be debuted soon, I think.
Yeah, I think you will see it in person,
person?
maybe very
Okay.
soon, because it's going to be unveiled at the upcoming event, I believe in about a week.
So just a minute left on our no reserve, or on the no reserve, 2005 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited LJ and the 2010 F-150 Raptor. Current bid on the LJ, $17,500. Current bid on the Raptor, $28,100. They're both cool vehicles. I really dig both of these. The LJ is kind of an interesting part of history, and I think it's a time that's not coming back. These like long wheelbase
Yeah,
two doors.
two doors, yeah.
Yeah, and the first gen Raptor, I mean, it was so pure. I remember when we got our Raptor, I was like 15 or 16, I think, when we ordered it.
It was
and-
like 2013.
Yeah. And I remember my dad specifically did not want to spend the money on the graphics. Do you remember you could get like the
Yeah, like dirt splashing
Oh,
or
so
something.
mad. I
Yeah.
love those graphics so much. I thought they were so cool. I was
And
so
our
sad.
Raptor didn't have a front camera. More later Raptors did have a front camera option, I believe.
Okay,
So this one I don't believe has it, the 2010, and
nice.
it's just about time for those. But of course the plan is with TFL bids to have about 2 to 3 new vehicles starting every Monday
And
eventually.
if you want to submit yours, we'd love to see if we can make something happen. So the auction just ended on the 05 LJ and the Raptor, 28,100 on the Raptor, and then 17.5 on the Wrangler, and those were no reserve auctions. So that's pretty cool. And once again, Baby Yoda just
It's
went
here.
up today.
Yes, and we have FG40 2019 Raptor coming. So like I was saying, if you guys want to sell your vehicles, we'll submit it to us. We'll take a look, but you need to submit us pictures, information, VIN numbers, of course, all the whole gamut.
And we're trying to do like videos too, like video walkarounds.
Yeah.
Case and Nathan just did a bunch of them,
Yeah,
which was
totally.
cool. All right, let's keep going with some questions, Andre. We'll keep going for another 15 minutes.
Well,
Why
somebody
not?
says, David Lusk says, go back to the live shows.
Yeah, I mean, we can.
We were never super successful with them, as you can see.
Yeah, the technical side of doing the live shows on YouTube is really a hard thing, and it's something that we need to spend more time on for sure. But we can look into it.
Because if we did a live show, I would want some more like slides. We want to show you pictures, stuff we're talking about, maybe videos, but it requires extra, of course, logistics and all that stuff.
Yeah, and they're definitely a more expensive endeavor because we got videographers behind the scenes that put it together. So let's keep going, Andre. We've got a ton of questions.
So here's one. Steinar says, waiting for the EV F-150 coming soon? Question mark.
I don't think it'll be soon, but it's coming, hopefully.
It's coming. So a couple things are happening. So Ford is building a factory near their Rouge facility in Detroit to build EV trucks and vehicles. And they're saying probably by the end of next year, I think a year and a half away, the EV truck is coming, and we've seen first prototypes in the wild. We have video and also images on TFLtruck.com.
Interesting. Kevin says, any new videos with Tommy's Mini Cooper? I've got an old classic Mini Cooper
Yes.
over at TFL Classics. I might do some more videos with it, but the folks that like the trucks really don't like the Mini. And the folks that like the Mini really don't like the old trucks we're doing. And it seems like people are more interested in the truck, so we're going to keep kind of plugging away at that.
But you still have it. The Mini is...
Yes, it's not going anywhere. That's absolutely right. Can you talk about a manual transmission with an automatic button?
A manual transmission with that.
I don't
What?
know what that means.
Are you talking about the clutch cutout? So like Toyotas, and actually, I think only Toyotas had that, where you can push this button and actually start the vehicle in gear without the clutch.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I'm not sure if that's what you meant.
More plans for TFL slip tests. Yeah, people seem to like them for the most part. People either really love them or they really hate them. Like really hate them.
I think it's related to the result. If they hate it a lot.
No, I mean it's not an inherently interesting thing to watch, Andre. Watching a
But
vehicle.
you
roll
just
is-
knocked it out of the ballpark with the Bronco Sport, because you did take it off road
Yes,
and you did put it on the roller test and you integrated it all in one.
yes, it's over at TFL Off Road. If you want to
Yes.
see that video, that was
Yes.
pretty fun. Andre, would my 2019 FX4 make it up any of the trails that you show? Yeah, for sure. Ranger FX4.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It would, but the tremor that we tested recently, the Ranger tremor, is even better with the tires and the slight lift and additional equipment it has. It's even better. And even my FX4 F-150 will make it, even with those tiny tires that are not great. But when we did it in the snow, that was another story.
Yeah, Andre drove into a tree. Will you be buying another mid-sized truck to replace a Gladiator? Maybe the Frontier?
It's possible.
At some
The
point.
2022 Frontier is coming this
Mhm.
summer, Nissan says. And also, so I think in the future, I think the Frontier is interesting. The next generation Tundra is going to be very interesting,
Yeah.
right? Because we've been waiting for the Tundras for so many, years. And yeah, so
Yeah.
that's going to be interesting.
For sure. What are your thoughts on a classic 73 Ford Country Squire station wagon? Very cool. I met a
Yes,
guy who had
yes.
one at Cars and Coffee a couple weeks ago, and I loved it. I thought it was really neat. His was like, I think it was early 70s.
I don't know a lot about them. Sorry.
Okay, are you going to run the old Ford and Dodge and Chevy up the Ike? I don't know if all three of them would make it up the Ike. Andre's convinced that the Dodge has a slipping transmission. I think it's fine. I just think it's a little old and slow and pokey.
So here's the thing. We took, and this series is still coming within a couple of weeks, maybe 3-4 weeks away. We're going to publish up to 4 episodes about the old trucks. How we bought them. We're having some fun with them. We're going to take them off road. But when the mechanic saw the steering components on some of those trucks, he was in horror because they're pretty loose. The tie rod ends were loose and some of the joints. So taking them at max load on the Ike is probably dangerous.
Yes, I think it would be dangerous.
So if it wasn't dangerous, if we were able to fix them up more, maybe we would.
I think going up the hill is probably safer than going down the hill.
Yeah, it's the down part.
It's the down part that's really scary.
Because you have to have transmission, brakes, and steering, and it's a public highway. So it has to be very, very serious. I think.
Any Maverick videos?
Well, we had a Maverick video that you did with Roman where somebody
yeah,
actually
we found
filmed
it.
it with no camouflage in San Diego, just driving around for a commercial. But we don't know
Yeah.
anything else about it.
Yeah, that's right. No, we haven't heard any other update. But if they're shooting commercials with it, which is what it looked like they're doing,
Yes.
we got to be super close. Is Ford going to take the V8 out of the F-150 soon?
We don't know that. They just updated it, gave it a multi-displacement system, so it can run in 4 cylinders or 8. And I think they can tell that some of the customers or a lot of the customers still want it. So we don't have any news that they're going to take it out.
Rangers are nice trucks. Any more new to you guys classic cars? Yeah, so Andre and I have been teasing it a lot, but we bought a 98 Silverado K1500, an 01 Ram 1500, and an 04?
04 F-150.
That's right.
That's not super classic.
Yep.
Also 95 Pathfinder, we just discussed.
Just bought a 1995 first gen Pathfinder.
Yes.
We've got the 65 Ford.
F-100.
We bought an old 911, which is at the shop, and it turns out to be a disaster. Has my dad told you that yet?
No.
Oh my
what
God,
happened?
it's such a mess. It's got so many problems. It was cheap, but it was cheap for a reason, as it turned out. So that is going to be coming soon.
So the best, the most expensive Porsche, used Porsche you can buy.
Is the cheapest one.
Yes.
Has Alex had any issues with his Ram Rebel?
No, it's not.
No, I don't think so. He loves
No.
that truck. Yeah, he's been driving the
Yeah.
beans off of it.
Yeah.
Can you take the all-wheel drive Camry Ultima up Lick Skillet Road? Seems like a few laps around the office parking lot was all that was shown. Yeah, that was a hard week. We had so much going on in our office. Lick Skillet would be a good test in the winter. In the summer, they'd all do it. The issue is getting the same tires because it's all about the tires, right?
But you did a snow tire test for the RAV4 this season. So you can see that as well. And of course, that information will be very important next season for next winter tires.
Mm-hmm. More live shows, please. Yeah, we can look into it for sure. Any other big questions? I still have the 123 Mercedes. Any more new heavy duty truck videos coming out?
So there will be more. So I just reached out to all the manufacturers with heavy duty 3/4 ton and 1 ton trucks. They're coming within a month.
All of them?
No, not all of them.
Okay.
So this is a big issue, guys. So as you know, the semiconductor shortages and other part shortages, a lot of manufacturers are struggling to build trucks or keep up with demand. And that also affects us because press loan trucks also have to be built, right? So not all of them are able to show up soon, but some will.
I hope so.
So
And you just did a podcast with Kent, Mr. Truck, about the best HD
best
trucks.
HD trucks, so that's coming in about a week.
Yep. And then hopefully this weekend we'll have a podcast up where we actually talk to Steven.
Yes,
With Truck King.
Stephen Elmer from Truck King was my guest on the Truck podcast. We had a chat because I haven't spoken to him in a couple months at least, so that was awesome. So that's coming up. We want to do more collaborations actually.
Yeah.
Together.
Eric says I missed the 2020 Super Duty videos.
The F-250.
Yes.
Yes. So one of the trucks that should be coming soon is the 2021 Super Duty. Another one.
That's cool.
But as you know, 2022 Super Duties are getting a new interior, so that's coming in the summer. So a little bit later.
But hopefully we'll have a 21 Super Duty here.
Yes,
That's
yes.
good. Is
So
it the V? Is it the gas? Or
It's the
diesel?
Godzilla.
Oh, okay.
That's the one we're getting.
That's pretty cool. What is the status on Tommy's Mini? Wow, 2 mini questions. Who would have thought people care? I drive it a lot actually. I've been using it a ton. It's an old classic Mini. Did you guys pre-order a Rivian? I don't think we did.
Nope, we did not.
The issue, the pre-order thing is.
So Pre-order, I mean, so you're basically giving them a small loan
Yeah, like
for a
an
long
interest-free
time.
loan.
Interest-free loan for a very long time.
Right.
So we have not done that. But when it comes down, do we want to test it? Yes. So Riven, if you're watching, we've asked you several times for a test truck. We do want to test it.
I really think that company needs to like start building stuff. You know, I mean,
Or-
I understand it's a long process.
Or letting
but-
people drive it.
Yeah, but the design looks like it's been solidified for
Many years.
years,
Yes.
plural.
Yes.
And it needs to happen now. I mean, I think there's a reason that a lot of manufacturers now are waiting longer and longer to reveal a car because they want the reveal, the first production, and the drive to be like simultaneous.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you kind of end up with, I hate to say it, like the Bronco situation, where you get like a lot of unhappy people who are like, "Where's my Bronco?" Or the Mach-E, right?
And I think it is a balance, right? Because, for example, the Santa Cruz pickup truck by Hyundai was teased as a concept like 5.5 years ago, and there was a ton of interest, but they couldn't, right, take it to production that quickly. And now the interest, I think, is dying down. So it's kind of a balance. You want to let people know something is cool is coming, but you don't want to do it too early so that the interest will actually die down by the time you actually do it.
Do you think Dodge should make a TRX Power Wagon?
You know what? Yes, but maybe not a TRX Power Wagon. But I think, you know how the 392 Wrangler has 470 horsepower?
Yeah.
Why couldn't they have the Power Wagon with 470
Yeah.
or 500?
It's an interesting question.
So it is a heavy duty truck with the, that's meant for reliability and longevity. So maybe that's why.
How come you guys don't have a doodle of my ride on TFL bike? Yes, we just haven't gotten any submissions.
No,
If
if you
you-
want to submit one, yes.
Yeah, TFLstudios.wetransfer.com. It's still live. Like we're still getting submissions and we're still taking a look at people's trucks and
Or,
stuff.
if COVID restrictions are okay with this, if you want to come by to our office, and show your bike, that's also good.
Yeah. I got a 2005 Ford Sport Track looking to replace it with a new Maverick. Can you do a direct comparison of the two? The hard thing about the old trucks is we typically buy them. But we've been slowly working our way through like every used truck. So we're probably going to end up with a Sport Track at some point. Any plans to reschedule the countrywide off-road overland trip? That's a good one.
No huge plans. We were calling it no pavement needed.
I'm trying to push for it. I think
So,
we should still do it.
yeah, but a part of that project is also comparing the 3 used trucks. So that's another big project that as long as we can get that done, then we can focus on the next thing.
Yes, I agree.
Are we
have to-
putting a lift on the F-150 2004? Yes.
Are we?
Cannot tell you exactly because we want it to be a surprise.
It's going to be lifted. What is the most reliable half-ton truck? I still think Tundra. That 3UR FE engine just
Yes.
never dies. Absolutely. Does anyone have any experience selling a truck to Vroom? We had a bad experience buying a car from Vroom,
Yes.
but not selling.
Really bad.
And
experience.
behind the camera, producer Zach is going to be selling a car to Carvana here in the coming week.
Soon, yeah.
So check out TFLcar.com because I'm hoping we'll have an update on how that goes. That'll be interesting. They need to come.
Nathan also sold a car to Carvana. And
Did he?
Kind of documented his experience. Yeah, that was a few months ago.
Oh, I guess Nathan did it too.
Yeah.
What are your expectations for the 400 refresh, hybrid turbo, or both?
Oof. So here's the schedule that we think they're gonna do as far as rollout of the new vehicles. The Tundra is first, then the Lexus LX should be refreshed or all new generation based on the next Land Cruiser. Then after that comes the Sequoia. The Sequoia is supposed to be redesigned.
Okay.
And then finally Tacoma and 4Runner. So I don't know what they will do, but I'm guessing hybrid, some sort of a hybrid technology will be involved. I don't know what else to say because it's far away.
Kevin asks, why does a new F-250 not have the inverter?
It's a great question. I actually wrote an op-ed, kind of an opinion piece about this, that the Super Duty should have, somehow the inverter system, I don't know, 3 kilowatts or more. I think it should.
Okay, let's keep cranking through these. Take on a 2003 F-350 crew cab with a V10. What do you think?
I haven't driven a lot of those old V10s. I've driven a V10 in a motorhome.
Yep.
It was kind of a slow thing, but our guys, our friends at 5 Star Tuning, actually tune those older V8s in Fords. So if you think your older Ford V10 is slow, give those guys a call.
Okay, let's do speed round here. Marco, I have a 2020 Gladiator Launch Edition. Thinking of the Mopar lift? Yes, I can
Yes.
definitively say yes. One of the few things that I'm definitive on in life. This is not a sponsored opinion, but I've driven a lot of lifted cars now, and they
And
always
trucks.
and they always ride worse. They always ride worse, except for the Mopar lift. The Gladiator, it's expensive, but it's worth it. Any plans to get an i8 other than Vroom? Eventually, but they're just really expensive. TRX versus electric bike test with Andre on the bike.
Ooh, that should be something.
Is Subaru ever going to forgive you? I hope so. I'd love to drive some of their cars, but I doubt it. I don't think that's ever going to happen. Honestly, we really do test these cars to a big percentage of what they're worth. And if Subaru wants that to happen, they know how to get a hold of us. But
Their Wilderness Edition Outback is out, so please.
CVT is always a hard thing off-road. Mach-E versus Model Y, ease of use.
Worst case in his comments, he was actually on a bike trip with Alex.
Yep, he was on a bike trip.
He should be back
He will
soon.
never sell that truck. Model Y is easier to use, in my opinion. Tundra Hybrid will come in at under 50. What do you think?
I don't know. It should. Well, it should if it wants to compete with the Ford. And we're going to wrap up in a second. But what happened to the FJ Cruiser, Tommy?
It is it's living life. It's just
Like
hanging out.
Larry.
Yeah, we drive it quite a bit, but it's never going to be modified because my dad loves that thing more than me, and he's going to keep it stock.
Really?
Yeah,
But we do have a Baja rack for it.
yeah. Baja Rack is
Yes.
coming. Absolutely.
So yeah, thank you guys. So if you do want more live shows, we will probably do one on Mondays to coincide with some of the auctions, right?
Yeah, for sure. And if you're interested in auctioning your truck with TFLbids, there's a little link. Check out how it works,
Yeah.
and it's pretty simple.
TFLbids.com. At the top it says submit. Submit your vehicle to us, and we'll look it over.
Yeah, and we'll have you on the show. Clearly. Yep.
See you later, guys. Thank you for joining us. And hopefully next time we won't be on the couch.
We love the couch. What do you mean we're not going to be on the couch? All right, cool. Nice work, people.
Thank you.